inspiration for the title only come after the work all done, completed, and I sat down and I think over about it. There's a resilience, there is a battlefield, there is a process on how the whole entire process come true. So basically working on the ground, on the canvas with the large size of canvas, and that itself is already a battleground physically, emotionally, that should be embraced. So that's how I came about on setting the title on this. The ship. Actually, when I first started the ship, when the first ship was painted, to me, the ship image was not there. It's only from a still life in the past, and it went on to a group of objects, and then from a group of objects, it went on to a movement of things. So the ship idea only came along when I found it along the movement of, this whole process on how visual develops it. Now, why ship? First of all, it's a very paradox image. It can be represent the battles. The battlement is significant. It can be also a container, but it also can be a battleground. So from tangible to intangible. And why is it in a vertical format? Because the ship always on a vast horizon. But this ship that I painted is in pretty narrow space. So it can serve as a container. So slowly evolve into a ground, and then it's on the sea, and then on the rock. So then some of the ship images evolve out from the rocky ground or the wavy marks. That's how things come about. The process on number 4 painting, everything is developing concurrently. When I paint the A painting, I went to the B and the C. It wasn't really a very significant composition came out, but eventually that came out as in the inner and the outer, the polarity between. So the cave image appear like a container of a portrait. If you came across the past, I paint portrait. So the portrait became a space, and it's very different from when you paint the ship. Is more on outside towards in, and this one is inside towards out, where you are going to look out. So the cavalier motion is where the whole feeling of how one's looking out, and then while you are looking into yourself, it's a holistic process on how things flow and emotionally. The formation of the structure came, usually the way I work is, I don't really set okay, it's going to be a set panel or it's going to be a huge panel. No, it just spontaneously came about, but I know the process as in, I'm going to put things slowly together. So the composition of escalating up or crumble down, it can be a mutual way. Like comparative to one whole block of a canvas that painted a significant images, it creates the whole tension and polarity. But I really like the freedom of escalation as well as collapsing at the same time. So it's grow and decay. Yeah, that's wonderful feeling. You see, the process of painting is from transferring the realism to transforming a feeling, and there's a transcending of this emotion and the spiritual elements, where I move this whole process in the painting into a 3D, and the 3D will then do a similar process, but now the space and the depth has became relief form, that it gave an even intense of how the experience of a 3-dimensional as I incorporate depths and symbolically dealing with how our inner depths on our inner landscape. So I think that's a skill that I really want to learn and master about it. The wonderful thing that I wish the audience can resonate with me is through my story they forget about who am I, but they start thinking about who they are. I think that's the ultimate purpose. And then we will ask, who are you and what's bothering you in life? Perhaps that's the root that we go back to the first step. And we're talking about advice. I don't think it's an advice. Perhaps we can then make this human fellowship as we walk in this life, and we meet different people, and then we pass on to the next one. We ask the same question. So the ultimate thing is brutally honest to face yourself in the challenge of life and carry through in the most honest that you can, and love one another. That's best. The arts live with me just like the way I carry myself and breathing. So the 25 years doesn't really significantly stay in numbers, but perhaps it's a time to the season and then a purpose is achieved. This purpose is healing process. This purpose is awakening process, and this purpose is a seeking process. So there's a lot of reflection as well as self-evaluation and a growing process, which I think eventually is to meet myself, that I can actually live a good, as a human being, a good life with the others as well.